Hello. Thank you. What were you saying, Lisa?
Hello. I was saying it's so good to see your face.
I know it's wonderful to see a
I
live
missed you.
human face. I know, me too. During this
I
crazy
know.
lockdown and everything that we've been dealing with, it's been absolutely insane. But before we go
Crazy.
any
Yeah.
further, I just want you
I
to
feel like I should be wearing a mask.
huh? Oh yeah, I'm not
Brace
wearing a
myself.
mask. It's
Yes.
like
Okay.
it's so nice to actually see someone's mouth and smile
Scandalous.
and everything else.
Yes. Yes.
So before
I'm
we go any
sorry about my
further,
dog. She's having a moment.
it's all right. You should introduce her to us at some point. If she comes back in, you'll
Yeah, if she comes over, I'll pick her up.
pick her up and introduce
Yeah, so I'm Lisa Silverstein. Thanks for having me.
her.
I live in Modi'in. We made Aliyah 12 years ago, and I am a Pilates teacher. I run and manage and teach full-time in my Pilates studio, although right now that's kind of on lockdown. Hopefully not for much longer, but who knows? And more recently, actually pre-corona, I launched a website and an online Pilates program called Membership. Thank God for that, because that's been a wonderful thing to have had sort of already set into motion once all of this craziness had started.
It was a little bit easier for you to then make the transition from one thing to the other. We'll get in. We'll get in.
Yes.
Because I want to get into that all in detail and hear about you and that and what you were doing. Anyway, it's very exciting. First of all, Lisa and I have known each other since you've made Aliyah. Our daughters have been in class together and been like best buddies, and it's been great. And getting to know Lisa and her family is absolutely amazing. And so I just wanted to just back up a little bit. You made Aliyah. You guys made the decision to make Aliyah. And how old were your kids? You only had two at the time, right?
So yeah, I have four, and at the time I had two. My oldest was just shy of 4. My youngest at the time was just shy of 2. So I came with two little kids.
Babies.
And I was working as a nurse in New York.
Wow.
From LA originally. I always feel like I should slip that in. I have a lot of LA pride. But I made Aliyah from New York, and I was working as a nurse, first in organ transplant, and then in their high school as their school nurse and health educator. And then I moved here and realized they don't have school nurses and educators in the same way. And my Hebrew wasn't great, so I really had to reevaluate career-wise.
Yeah. Well, I find that a common thread amongst Olim, a lot of the women and so far everyone that I've been speaking with, they use the opportunity of Aliyah to sort of re-examine, and many women have decided to pursue their passions instead. Not that it was a mistake or what you did before, you weren't passionate about it, but there was like an evolution. And it just seems to be this common thread where you come here and, during that time of adjusting and transitioning into this new way of living with your family and everything, a lot of people have rediscovered or discovered some other passion. Now, you worked temporarily for a very short period of time. You tried to do some commuter working or some not commuter, virtual online.
Alumni.
Yeah.
And yes. So I was doing alumni relations with the school that I had worked at as a nurse. I was kind of doing their alumni work for their alumni in Israel. And then I was kind of already into that. So then I worked for another school in their alumni division. And then I kind of said, wait a second, like what path am I on here? This is not, I mean, it was fine work, but it didn't play into any of my natural or my natural passions. So then for the first time in my adult life, I actually took a break from work for men. So I need to just figure out what I want to do. And that's when everything really came together with Pilates. I mean, it's a larger story, but in my third pregnancy, which happened here in Israel, it was just, it was a bit of a disaster of a pregnancy. Thank God, baby was fine. I bounced back, but for those 9 months, it was very, very difficult. And part of the reason was I had this pelvic injury where my hips overextended, and she was a large baby, thank God, and it was just wreaking havoc on my bone structure. It was just opening, and I had fractures, and it was just very painful. And I was told that afterwards, you know, after I would deliver, slowly things would kind of come back to the way they were, and they just didn't. And I used to be a runner, and I tried to just walk, forget about running, but I tried to just walk for exercise. And I felt like, the way I would describe it is feeling like a creaky old house. Like there was just such a disconnect. I had no idea what was going on in my body. There were sounds that were being made that shouldn't be. Anyway, and I cycled through a lot of different treatments and different things, and I fell into Pilates, and that was really the only thing that helped me and built me back and stronger than before. Wow. And so I knew I had loved teaching when I taught in as a school nurse. I really fell in love with teaching, and I was hoping that I could maybe still do something in that area. And then I was falling in love with Pilates, and then so kind of connected the dots with some help. Yeah, and here I am.
Wow. Well, I think most people, for the most part, know what Pilates is, have heard of it, have some indication. But just in case, I mean, and also tell us a little bit about Pilates, just a brief overview of what type of exercise Pilates.
Yeah, it's really funny because yoga is a lot more popular, and mat Pilates and yoga look really similar, at least from the outside in, at least like literally from the outside in. Like if you're going into a yoga studio and you're walking into a Pilates studio, you kind of look the same. You're wearing the flip-flops that you can easily take off right when you get there. You're holding your mat, you're wearing the leggings. So people have it in their head sometimes that it's the same. And I'll tell them that I teach Pilates, and then 2 minutes later, so how long have you been teaching yoga? No, Pilates. I have no idea how to teach yoga. But yeah, so there are two kinds of ways to teach Pilates, to take Pilates. There's Pilates with machines, which I don't do. I like it. It's really cool. It tends to be more expensive because you need to go to a studio and pay for all this, you know, access to all this really cool machinery. It's really cool. But what I like of mat Pilates, which is what I teach, is that it's just so affordable and available, and it's cheaper. And it's also, I like that it's just kind of like stripped down to the bones, that it's just you and your mat. And for me, there's something very peaceful about that. And again, it's about finding these connection points. I had felt so disconnected from my body after pregnancy, and so much less, you know, eliminating distractions and getting to reconnect again with my body. So what Pilates is it's a core-centered exercise. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to work the arm, not going to work the legs. You're going to work everything. But the idea is that one's power real and true strength really actually comes from core strength. And I had always been really athletic my whole life, just in different sports, and swimming and basketball and jogging and running and kind of whatever. Nothing really seriously, but I was always really active. But I don't think I ever did a sit-up in my life because that wasn't fun. It didn't give me joy. It wasn't worth my time. And as a result, we had a pretty weak core. But I thought I was like in great shape because I could run fast.
You're an athlete, of course. Yeah.
Right. But Pilates really highlighted how much work I really, really needed in my core, and my subsequent pregnancy was much better as a result of working all of that. I also have scoliosis, so I really need to work on my strength in order to maintain my posture and make sure that I don't just sort of age in the direction of the curve of my spine. So that's really stripping it down. That's what Pilates really is about. It's tapping into your core strength. Unlike yoga, we don't really hold poses. We're definitely counting. We're breathing a lot. We're moving a lot, but getting that core strength from the breath, from that engagement, and then letting it flow out to the extremities. And that's the basic idea.
Wow, amazing. I'm just so impressed and amazed by your whole Pilates. I love the idea of it. I know Lisa has been trying to get me in there, and my schedule, I'm the worst.
I haven't given up on you, Ninoska.
I know. And
I got a mat right
I haven't
here.
given up either. I haven't given up. I'm going to get there. And that's one thing I've gained from this pandemic is I hope that coming out of it, I will find a little bit more time to do things like that. I used to be a very active person, and then I had some health issues the last couple of years that sort of kind of made me a little bit more sedimentary. And now, Baruch Hashem, I'm just moving around a lot more and doing a lot better. So
Great.
that is
Good.
my goal, to be able to come and do your classes, because I need.
That's amazing. It's a good
core
goal.
Also, I'm I've looked the weakest core, and I think anyone after childbirth in general. But I love what you touched on. You've always been an athlete. You've always been, physically active, a runner, and you're like, oh, I'm in great shape. And you're also like a very naturally slender, slim person, but you realized that that pregnancy and what happened to you made you realize that you really weren't as strong.
I fell apart.
Yeah, in your physical core. And the fact that I love that you bring in the fact that it's also good for your long-term posture with your scoliosis, because it's going to help you to maintain that. I see that when we get older, we always see the grandparents and everyone is starting to do this and like curve in and slouch, and I'm sure that Pilates will be helpful. I know you do a course you have a sitting at a chair Pilates, right? For
yes,
pensioners.
Yeah. And I actually, now that everything's virtual and on Zoom, I actually teach a chair class for women in New Jersey that are are doing Pilates on their chairs. And
oh, that's amazing.
It's great. Yeah, it's really fun. It's so important.
Talk to you afterwards about that, because the timing might work for me.
That one. Yeah.
That one. Okay, I'm going to start off on that one right away. I mean, I'll update everyone afterwards to see if I actually do. No, I really want to. I really, really want to.
Yeah, let's see.
So you started the studio. I saw this as it was happening and this evolution, and it's absolutely good. First of all, Lisa, you're like the nicest, kindest, most chill person anyway. But there was this energy coming out of you, when you're like converting the masses to Pilates, because just to hear you talk about it and you're not one of those people, that joke, how can you tell a person is a vegan? And the punchline is they'll tell you. They'll just tell you.
Right.
And it's and that tends to happen with a lot of people in their exercise programs, regime, or whatever it is. It's like you're talking about the plant on your table, and then all of a sudden it becomes like, you should do this for your but you're not like that. You're like so chilled about it that I feel like we have to ask you about Pilates and not vice versa. Which is it's great. It's like refreshing. It's the best. I think it's a great way to
Thank you.
do it. So
I actually, no, I was going to say that I actually started in my living room behind me. Yeah, when I was training in Wingate to become a Pilates teacher, I had finished after however long it was, we finished beginner Pilates. We're going to an intermittent and then advanced Pilates. It was a pretty intimidating program for me. First of all, most people were younger than I was. I definitely don't have. And so I was always trying to kind of catch up. I felt like the underdog, and I was like, what can I read and what can I learn and what can I do? Yeah, I was just a very eager student, really trying hard to do whatever I could, especially with the language barrier, however I could fill in those gaps and get as much as I could from the program. And she said, in order to be the best teacher at anything, in order to be good at anything, even not teaching related, is just to simply start to do it. And the more that you do it, the more that you'll feel comfortable doing it. So she said that we had finished the beginner level, that she had taught us everything that we needed to know. So if I could find some friends in the neighborhood that would allow me to experiment on them,
Yeah.
and teach them beginners Pilates for free. And so it started out with one, and then it grew and it grew and it grew. And this was months and months and months. It was once a week, then it was twice a week, maybe it was even 3 times a week in my living room. And then I had like graduated from the program, and it felt like awkward transition for me, because I was kind of in this, oh, I'm a student and, you know, practicing on you guys. And they actually came to me and said, okay, you know, you need to charge us, because we don't feel comfortable coming back at this point unless you charge us. But that's really how it started. And it was great to then kind of start one as a Pilates teacher already with this core group, and it kind of grew from there. So that was really good.
And then now, so many people are feeling the challenges, or experiencing the challenges with business in terms of transitioning their businesses either to a virtual platform. And unfortunately, also a lot of people are struggling just financially with their businesses because they are, you know, consumer based, and you know, with the quarantines and the social distancing, it's become a lot of it's become a challenge for a lot of people. I love that you actually, it must have easily been, I'd say about a year now, right? At least more than a year.
Yeah.
That I remember when you were starting it up, and you had this, you know, you wanted to be able to teach virtually, which was amazing. And so you're very, very fortunate in that you had already implemented a way of working virtually, and it's, in a way, it's a saving grace. But tell me, having gone, you've gone now, I think it was like you're doing some here, some there, some, you know, you had live classes and your virtual program. Now I assume you're primarily exclusively, you know, teaching virtual classes. So or
Yeah.
you know, the program. So how was that how was that for you? First of all, the whole technical aspect of it, you know, like, was
Yeah.
it?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So, I mean, I feel like career-wise, I've experienced opposite extremes when it comes to how this pandemic can affect your career. On one hand, it's shut down my studio twice, complete shutdown. The first time for 10 solid weeks of zero studio.
Yeah.
And, you know, we would do Zoom here and there. But I think once you're used to an in the flesh experience, it's very, very difficult. Also, I was competing time-wise with everyone's kids' Zoom's time slots. You know, it's very hard to take one of the few screens of the house and be like, I'm just going to go do my Pilates now. Sorry, you're missing math and Torah, you know. So it was really tough. You know, people don't have 6 computers in their house. So Zoom was something that we were trying really hard to do, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. And then again now, I mean, there are no group classes at all, which is, it's so hard for me. I like held on with every way that I could. I taught in the park and with masks on and so far away from everyone, where by the end of the day, I could barely speak because I was like shouting across the park in a mask. Anything I could to keep it going, but once there's a shutdown, I really just, I kind of fold. So group classes still have not come back into play yet. Because I work one-on-one with a lot of people who need Pilates for medical reasons. They have a slip disc, they have neck pain, they have lower back issues, have hip issues, they have issues with their gait, whatever it is. And so their doctors actually sent them to me. I was actually allowed to continue one-on-one, not in my studios. Like the rules are kind of weird. I had to close my studio, but I could meet with them. So what we would do is we'd meet, the weather was nice, in their gardens, 2+ meters apart, mask on, and we can continue that way. So able to do that. And then, and then I had the, my online stuff, which started working on not this past summer, but the summer before. And here I was with this, thank God, it was this really vibrant studio working 6 days a week. And then I'm going completely out of my comfort zone. I'm not a technologically savvy person naturally at all. I'm barely on social media, personally. And then now I'm like, oh, let me open up an Instagram account and be on it every day and video myself and pitch myself to the world. And that sounds like a logical thing to do. So I'm like, let me just try. I mean, sometimes I look back and I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? And it was very difficult because there was a huge learning curve that I had so much to learn. I was starting from the beginning and I was moonlighting because I had a full packed day of my studio. So that was crazy. And there were times that I was like, really, what am I doing here? Or if I'm going to do this online thing, then cut some of the studio classes, which I get very attached to things and people and projects, and there's no way I was going to do that. So I was in this crazy juggle for a while, doubting myself every 10 steps. But then obviously I'm so grateful that I stuck with it, because by the time Corona rolled around was when my final program that I was working towards was ready to launch, which was and is, it's called Membership, and it's an on-demand program. So I really wanted this to be as user-friendly and simple as possible, where you just pick the class you want, click play, and that's it. And a lot of people do it on their own. They navigate the program on their own, and they know which ones are their favorites. They know which classes are the most challenging for them. And other people I'm in touch with all the time. All right, what class should I do next? And it's great. I actually like that people can kind of do it their own way. I can be your Pilates coach if you want me to be, but I'm not going to nag you and nudge you. You'll hear from me. I'll check in, but you don't have to check in with me and tell me how you're going if you don't want to. And at this point, so I had been building up this library. At this point, it's over 55 classes that are on the library. Yeah, which is it's a lot. That's a lot of Pilates, and I add every month. So it's just it grows and grows and grows. And I add based on what my current online students tell me they like. If they want it more intense, less intense, something more relaxing, something that works the whatever. It's really like by request, because I want to give the people what they want. So that's been a really wonderful saving grace.
Amazing. It's amazing. And first of all, I just want to tell you something that I hope it might make your day, or, not make your day, but, not that big, make you at least feel successful, because with the whole social media thing, first of all, you're everywhere now, my dear. Okay. I'm seeing you all over the place. So on this last round, because I would send your things to some of my friends all over the world, who I thought would be interested in taking classes. So I sent, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I know her. Everyone loves her Pilates class. And look, it's free. And a friend of mine, she has like 5 daughters. So, and 2 are married, and the others, they're older teens, like early 20s. So I figured, this is great, because everyone wants the want to be able to exercise in their home, whatever. So I sent her this round, and she said to me, oh, yeah, I saw her on Instagram. Someone else sent it to me. And I was like, yay, Lisa! This is someone in Boston.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like awesome. She can't remember how she saw it.
It's really exciting.
Or who it much, but it had gone around from someone, and she's in a very yeshivish community over there. So it's not like, but someone to working,
Right.
you're working your way around the
Oh,
globe,
that's
my
so
friend.
cool.
So I thought
Thanks
that's
for
very
sharing
cool.
that. Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
and another friend of mine who she is actually very big on social media. She does cookbooks. Shout out to my friend Raina Simnagar. She does
That's my buddy.
that's one of my dear
Yeah.
friends. So yeah, I
We
remember.
connected. Oh,
I
that's
don't
so
think she
nice.
remembers this, but I like the first schlab that you did. I sent out some stuff to her because she was definitely on my list of that, and I saw her read it on her thing.
Yes.
Your thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. Oh, she's amazing.
so
She's really amazing.
you're doing the Instagram thing really well. I mean, you can start giving classes. I hate Instagram. I have to say, I'm sorry. People can tell me
Oh
whatever
my
they want to tell
gosh.
me. I just like it's just I don't know. I don't know, Lisa. We're gonna have to have a chat afterwards. You're gonna have to like convince me. But I'm on there now. I'm like I've always had an account. Now I'm just trying to do some stuff with it. I'm always like on Facebook and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
I've become the opposite now. Now I'm on Instagram, and there's only so much social media. I'm not a social media,
yeah.
manager, so I just can't. But you're right in that they're very, very different, and I find a difficulty in harmonizing both. So I kind of just say, all right, I'm going to spend my time on Instagram, and then I do have a Facebook page that it then will post it on the Facebook page, and I can keep up with it if anybody responds. But Instagram it's very different, and it took me a while to kind of get used to it, but I've only really had a very positive experience, and I think the potential connections on Instagram are really major with the hashtags and everything. I mean, they're just trying to cast your net wider all the time.
I see that.
So
I see that.
Amazing thing.
Yeah. So here you are. You're now like not only a Pilates guru, you're like a social media guru for me.
Hardly, but yeah, but I have learned a thing or two from being on there every day. Definitely learned amazing. A lot. Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing.
It's a pretty cool tool.
So I love that. Another thing about you is you're like the wife. Okay, if I say you're the wife of a rabbi, and it's like you're not like your typical rabbi's wife, like you're not what I think of or what we have in mind. You're just so cool. And I'm sure I'm insulting lots of people. And I don't mean it as an insult to anyone. I mean it purely as a compliment to you. But you really are, cool. And David is too, your husband. He's
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
He's pretty
cool.
He's pretty cool. And so he is I love the story. One of my favorite stories about you, well, something that happened to the two of us, is that David was always trying to get you to put, and Lior, my husband, does the same. He wants rabbis' pictures all over the house.
Yes.
And we feel the same way about that. And I love that you told me about this like website where you could get like black and white photos of,
Yes, I was very specific about which wall and how many rabbis and like the look of it, because he would go, oh, I have these great pictures that we're going to just plaster over every wall in the house. And a lot of them, I mean, they're beautifully done, but they're very sort of dark, and like it'll be like a picture of an old Rebbe in a very dark cavernous room with a little candle and a little Gemara, and like he's like this, and he just wanted like 80 of those pictures all over the house. I'm like, how about something with a little bit? So I thought, all right, maybe if they're like black and white and like a little bit more light filled, then they would be artsy and have a look and go with the house a little more. But yeah, that was a major thing, and we still have like major empty walls because we can't fully. 18 years into marriage, and we still can't fully agree on wall art. We're working on it.
I mean, I think that's hysterical. And I love the fact that we were talking about this and we felt similar. You're like, if the photo is like just like a normal portrait, then it almost looks like it's your Uncle Bob, and if you can just put it up as like,
Yeah,
oh, it looks like a family picture. And I love that. I love that. So I'm still looking
yeah,
also
totally.
to find one. I'm in the same boat that we can agree on, that I can put up
Yeah,
like
we'll share that information if you find anything good.
picture and put
For
up, because
sure.
like
It's so
people
funny.
come home with like these like sketches and all like random like photo, and I'm like, oh no, no, please no.
I know.
No, but that's
Yeah,
hysterical.
I know.
uh,
Yeah.
and that brings me to, when you say about your artwork, you're actually an artist yourself, so why not?
I paint, I draw.
Yes, you do.
Why not what?
You make amazing sketches like caricatures and cartoon.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I remember for the longest time your Facebook photo was this really cool like sketch of like cartoon drawing of yourself.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's true. I think that was like my first Facebook photo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's so funny.
I love
Yeah, I know. One of these days, when I retire, I'll have time. Maybe I'll actually, paint these revies or sketch them myself.
there you go.
But
No, but
yeah, I do
yeah,
enjoy that.
or just generic artwork, any type of thing, you can post it up. Um, I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you. I'm gonna get that from you because I want to use that as the opening photo for you. But are you able to show
Yeah.
us a little bit of your website? I'd love to see it, or
Oh
any. Do
yeah. So
you have any photos you'd like to
let's
share with us?
let's see. So I can actually take you in, a little sneak peek, Scott, just for you and your
Oh,
audience,
ooh,
right into I know,
love it.
right into my membership program. So if you subscribe to the membership program, as I said, you get access to this whole library of classes. So I'm
Yeah,
going to show you.
yeah.
Okay, so here is the membership library. So if you have if you're a member, then you get this. So
Okay.
basically,
Cool.
it goes in order from beginners to advanced.
Okay.
So if you're a total beginner and you have no idea where to start, you're starting at class 1 and just working your way up. If you have more experience, then you can bounce around, and that's when I would offer you some guidance. So
Ah,
I created these little series that each have a theme.
nice.
And they're all different. The ab series has 6 30-minute classes. The total body series has 5 20-minute classes, and there's like a little description of each one so you know what you're getting into. Here it gets a little bit more advanced. That's a fun one. Pilates for kids. There are 2 classes that I actually filmed with my kids during a lockdown. Power Pilates, which is more intense, and a strength and stretch. So it really is. There's a breathing workshop that actually I got by request by one of my teen students, actually, a teen subscriber. She reached out to me and she said, I feel like I'm not getting the breath right. Can you do like a breath workshop? And I'm like, yeah, that's actually an amazing
It is.
idea. So there's a 2-part series just on the breath. And I got so many emails after that saying like, whoa, that like
That's
totally
so
enhanced
wonderful
my
because
Pilates practice.
yeah, I remember when I was doing yoga, like my breath was always off from everyone else's. I'm like, oh man. And like when they were breathing in, I was
Right.
breathing out and I was holding, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and I remember that.
Right.
I totally see that.
It's complicated. It really is complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it has the potential to really, I mean, that is the way in Pilates that we access, when we say the core muscles, it's the belly muscles, back muscles, it's the muscles on the sides, the oblique muscles. We're really trying to tap into the deepest, innermost layer of muscles, not just working the superficial rectum abdominis, the
Yeah.
6-pack muscles that everybody knows about and talks about. What the more powerful muscles are actually way deeper than that, and the way to properly tap into and access those muscles is really through the breath. So I just thought that was so great that she is in high school and she gave me this amazing
Wow.
idea, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So yeah, And so I can just show you, for example, like, I don't know, if we took one of the advanced deconstructed, so you just kind of click on this, and then you see it shows you, this is deconstructing
Okay.
advanced exercises. So you've got the rollover, the side kick, the teasers, the swan dive. These are all different complicated exercises in Pilates that we deconstruct. Yeah, and then here it is. Yeah.
Cool.
So here I'm just kind of, I always start with a nice slow warm up, even in an advanced series, starting with a few moments just to turn your attention inward and take a step away from whatever it was you were doing before class. And it's not always this. This is just sitting and breathing and moving. It could be in an all fours position. It could be in a plank position. It's just taking time to breathe. And I can just slide you forward. I don't even know what we're going to see. Let's find out. We're buffering. Yeah.
No worries. Wow.
So this is the teaser. Oh no, this is the open leg rocker exercise. So we're working our way up to the teasers by
Nice.
learning this exercise. So yeah, so lots of different classes to choose from, and
Amazing.
yeah, so it's
beautiful.
fun.
Okay, like I'm signing up. I'm signing up, even just to be able to do the beginner's course, and now I can do that here at home. There's like no excuse now.
That's right.
That's like so easy and so wonderful. I don't need to go in the studio. Actually, I think that works better for me. That was always my problem, is there was always something else
scheduling
that I had to do on my like 2 mornings that or morning and an afternoon that I had off from work. I was like, oh, I got to go to the bank. I got to go to this. I got a doctor's appointment. Like there was always a list of things that, because the other time I had work. It's a terrible thing as a mother,
Yeah.
not to be able to find that time to pencil it in for yourself, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's the reality of a lot of working moms, and a lot of working
Yeah.
women. You have, like, if it's a choice between going to a class, and I'm sure I feel amazing and rewarded afterwards, or going and getting some errands done. Unfortunately, many times we choose to be practical as opposed to doing what was probably the best thing for us. But this I love, because I could do this at night here in my house when it's not time. There's no time constraints in terms of going into the studio and schlepping out and schlepping back in. So I'm gonna
right. Yeah. And that was really, all right. That was really the driving force behind it. Obviously, nobody saw a pandemic happening in the future. The driving force was really because it's just so hard to find your way into a Pilates studio, or to carve out that time, and I just wanted to make Pilates more available to more people. That was really the driving force behind it. And also, no class is longer than 30 minutes. I mean, and it really doesn't need to be. You will get very well worked from head to toe. I have classes that are 10 minutes long, 15 minutes. Most are probably around the 25-minute mark, but none of them are longer than 30. 30 is the max, which also just makes it more doable.
Yeah.
Then you're going to roll out your mat and do it often, when you don't have to wait for an hour of free time.
Yeah.
That's hard to come by these days. And I really don't think that it's even physically necessary. I actually think there's a lot of value in these shorter workouts that you'll do more often, because it's easier to slip them in.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm sold. I was sold before, but now there's absolutely no excuse for me to not get off of my lazy butt. There's just no excuse.
You are anything but lazy, Nina.
That's true. That's
anything but lazy.
I know, but I have to because I'm like the perfect. It's so easy for me to find excuses, and everyone else, and there's like no excuse when it's so easily accessible. So that's my take from this. Now I'm gonna update you and update everyone in terms of if I when I did it, I actually followed through and how I'm progressing. So that'll be my like little like
Right.
a little Pilates journal.
Cool.
I'm gonna throw into all of it
Awesome.
afterwards. I wanted to. Oh, another thing you were talking about breathing. Singers are connected to those same inner muscles, the diaphragm. And if you ever, while someone, and you're a singer also, which by the way, you have like so many talents, Lisa. Okay, you're just the nicest person, so I can't hate you.
Does karaoke singer count as singer? I don't know.
You actually have such an amazing voice. And I know we will never get you into our theater program, probably because you're so busy in the evening with your classes. And that's usually when we perform and rehearse. But you're an amazing dancer and you're an amazing singer on top of everything else. And you paint and you do the Pilates and stuff. So maybe one day we'll have a project that you will not be able to say no to. And you may come on to the, our side of the world here. But yeah, singers have an amazing core and
Oh, I lost you.
really connect in. And if you ever like touch like someone who like sings all day long or teaches, they're like, it's solid, it's hard. They don't have like cuts in the abs. It's not like you'll see, the ab cuts that everyone is like trying to get aesthetically.
Right. It's deeper.
It's deeper, and it actually will like push through a little bit of like the belly fat, and when you feel it, it's like rock hard in there. So I know what you're talking about with the muscles. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions.
Okay.
What do you think after all of this is over? And I'm looking for the future because we have to. Okay, when this pandemic is over, do you think what will be a positive outcome for you? Will you be a better person? Will you? Is there something that you discovered about yourself that you were able to focus on that you necessarily didn't have the time before, or will you be more of a germaphobe? Will you like just appreciate what? I mean, it could go anywhere.
Yeah.
What's
It really could. It
what's
really
this,
could.
2.0 post, pandemic?
Yeah.
What's going to be different?
I mean, I'm reluctant to say what I really feel because I feel like it sounds so corny, but it's really true, which is just, I really hope that I never take anything for granted, even the small things. I mean, my entire family lives in the States.
Yeah.
And even though I really appreciated when they would come and visit me and when I come and visit them, and it was such special time, I mean, having that ability being taken away and so many other things. I mean, hugging your friend or relying on the fact that your Pilates studio is going to function the next day. I mean, from huge to tiny, just never taking anything for granted and just having this appreciation that, thank God, we get to do whatever it is to do. And even now, when I'm having a tougher day and when I'm feeling down in the dumps and I'm like, oh my God, I just need like a minute's worth of peace and quiet, and that just never ever happens anymore. There's always, the house is buzzing with kids and school books everywhere, and I just try to take my breath and to remind myself that even now, even though it's hard, and even though a lot of things that I used to be able to do I can't do right now, I'm still able to do a whole lot, and just appreciating what I can right now. But I think that just little things and big things that we're going to one day be able to do again. I don't know. I hope that I don't lose that feeling and level of gratitude and appreciation. I hope it doesn't get lost over the years, that I always remember there was a time, a large chunk of time, where we couldn't do things like reach out and touch your friend's hand when she's having a difficult time. It's not normal, and just to always appreciate when we can do those things. So that's what I would bring forward.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the word, because during all of this, one word that I'm always trying to say to myself and remind myself is gratitude. Even before this and during especially. And I love that you say that is so important to have gratitude. My husband teaches me, like he teases me, I should say, and he calls me Pollyanna. I have my moments. I'm Latin. I lose my temper. I am very, very hot-blooded. I am very like, and it's that end. But I think that what has helped me is I constantly have this feeling of gratitude, and I haven't let go of that. And I try to, each day that I wake up and each day, just be grateful for what I do have and try not to complain for what I don't have, because Shem knows you're always going to be lacking in stuff or things that you feel that you don't have or you need. And if you spend your entire existence focusing on what you don't have, then you are just not a joyful person. And if you can somehow each day just find one thing in your life to be grateful for, and hopefully you could find 20, 30, 100 in the course of your day, but you should just
Yeah.
challenge yourself every day to just say one thing that I'm truly grateful for, and just focus on that and have that be your mantra to get past the like kooky craziness and everything else. So I love what you say, and I really do
Yeah.
feel, I don't think you're corny, and I know you, and I know that you really are going to appreciate those things, and I know that you will remember it because you're that type of individual who will take that forward and just say, okay, I remember when I couldn't do this, and I'm just grateful to be able to meet you and do this with
Mm.
you, and whatever. Even like it means like things that would drive me crazy, which is like going shopping with one of my daughters who's like, oh my gosh, it's like
Right.
I am going to be so grateful to go into like Zara and go through that nightmare of like
Right.
shopping with three teenage girls, and you know
Right.
so I'm looking forward to that moment of gratitude again. So no,
It's
I
true.
I
It's
believe
true.
you.
It's true.
Okay, so now tell me, what is a favorite book or something that you're either currently reading that you're excited about, or could it be a classic, or not a classic in the sense of it doesn't have to be Sense and Sensibility, but meaning like Lisa's classic, something that you enjoy reading again and again, if there's such a thing.
Well, for me, I'm the type of person that I'll hear like a great joke
Yeah.
and I'll be like, don't forget it. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. I'll come home and I'll be like, I heard the greatest joke. It was, and I'll give away the punchline as I'm setting it up. I'll forget a major detail. I'll forget the punchline.
Uh,
So that's the same way I devour books, but unfortunately, many of the sort of the defining feature of a great book for me is that it's really memorable and it's sort of
yeah.
seared itself and imprinted itself on my memory. So the last book that I read recently that was like that, it's a long one. It's called The Street Sweeper by Elliot Perlman.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, it comes to mind right now because I remember it. I mean,
Yeah.
there it was, and it touches on so many different things. It's like 5 different books in one. And I found it very powerful. It was one of those books that was a little tough to get into because it was so long and it was like
Yeah.
kind of coming at you from different vantage points and times and history.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's this going? But then when it all comes together, it was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a good
Wow.
one. I
Okay.
recommend it.
Cool. And if there was someone that you can meet and go back and just hang out with for a day, anyone, any time period, um, who would it be?
Mm.
You can think about it in any point in history.
Huh, yeah, no, that is such a tough question. And I mean, the Pilates, you know, lover in me says Joseph Pilates. Like he's the one that made this stuff up. I want to know, like, am I teaching this right? Like, am I doing this
Yeah.
okay? What were you thinking when you started this exercise? And can we do it this way? I mean, Pilates is named after the person who started it.
Wow.
So I think it would be kind of interesting to speak to him. I'm sure there are more. There are more. I just
That's just,
I don't know. Like I mean, political figures.
yeah.
I don't know, or authors, or artists. You know, I don't know. I also think, and this actually, I really am a pretty positive person. This actually might sound pretty pessimistic though, is that I think for the sort of creators that I really admire, the writers, the authors, the artists, I have this idealized vision of them in my mind, and I almost don't want to run the risk of disappointing myself, like meeting my favorite author, and then, having him be this totally flat, grouchy guy, that I'm like, well, I just waste my one wish on you. So I don't, I don't know. But I guess I'm going to stick with Joseph Pilates. Why not?
I like that. That's a great answer. I mean, I can imagine that conversation and having him be like, you saying, did you ever think that people all over the world would be doing this and it would be named after you? And there's like,
oh, that's exactly right. He did not. It was after his lifetime that it exploded into what it was today. He only saw like the tip of the iceberg with the success of it.
Yeah.
So I would just want to meet him so I could tell him. Someone needs to tell him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And I keep asking everyone the same question. I have a couple questions, but that's one that I ask because like I can't think of anyone that I want to go back and meet yet. I know that sounds
Yeah, that's a really tough question. Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it would be nice. Like there are a lot of people who are like, oh, that would be nice. That'd be cool. But there isn't one person that I'm like, oh, if I could just go back and like spend one day.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
gotten to that thing. What was your favorite subject in school growing up?
Yeah, probably art. And eventually math. I had a weird sort of coming of age with math. Math was so hard for me for so long. And I was just, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. It didn't really make sense to me. I was memorizing it, but I didn't really get it. And it was not until the end of 9th grade, high school, and then the beginning of 10th grade, where I literally was like, oh, this all makes sense.
Oh,
These are numbers. It's completely logical and it makes sense. And I literally like overnight, went up 2 levels, and like teachers were like, what just happened to you? And I'm like, I don't know. I figured out math. So, I mean, it didn't really take me to college level or anything, but at least for the rest of high school, it wasn't this nightmare for me.
Yeah.
It was something that I felt like finally I understood. And funnily enough, my mom actually said that she had the same experience. We're just late math bloomers. It's in there somewhere. It just takes a while to come out. Isn't that weird?
It is, but also, I mean, I don't know if I'm giving away any secrets here, but your eldest, I happen to know, is also really good in math. And at first,
she is.
I heard,
and she wasn't. She struggled as well. So it's a thing in my family. It's in the genes. Yeah.
She's in like
I know.
math, and she has
really it's a funny thing.
Very similar story like you, I have to say. So okay, what else did I want to ask you? There was another part. And I know you're originally from LA and you lived in New York when you were married. But what's your favorite city? What's your favorite
in college? Yeah.
College and and did you ever? What's your favorite city that you've ever lived in?
I always say that Israel has my soul and LA has my heart, if that makes any sense. I have a lot of LA pride. I loved growing up there. I love going back there to visit. This is where my soul is. This is where I feel like complete living. I don't feel like there's this thing missing, and I've always felt that living in the States. There's just something missing, and that's not a feeling that I have when I live here. Honestly, when it's good, when it's bad, when it's hard, when it's easy, it's just it's always there and it's always complete. Anywhere else in the world, I just don't feel that. That being said, I do love LA. It's just it's a great place, great weather. It's a great place.
I totally get it, and I totally understand, and I love how you describe it as in terms of soul and heart. But yeah, I love being here in Israel too, but there is a part of me that loves New York, and you know, and I don't think it will ever, it'll ever pass. Like I will watch a movie
Yeah.
or see something or read about it, and I am watching a certain street and a person walking down a street, and I remember the smell. Like I know what
Wow. Yeah.
it's like, and I know that time of the year when you take that breath into your lungs, what it feels like. And I
Mm-hmm.
still
That's amazing.
remember, and if someone offered me today to live part of the year, you know, there for a few months or whatever, it would be very hard for me to pass it up. It really would be very,
Hmm.
very, but I would
Yeah.
never go and live there for like full time.
Right.
I, I
Yeah.
have to live here. I have to live here.
Yes.
But if I could go for a month, two, maybe
Right.
max, you know,
Right.
I
That's okay.
I could do that. I could do that. I could see myself
Yeah.
doing that. But so I love the way that you describe that. I think I'm going to have to use that from now on. I will credit you because I love to credit my friends. This is going to be a weird one. And it comes from
Mm.
my husband. God bless him. We're always having this debate in our house. Um, Moon landing. You know, I believe that we've made it to the moon. And he apparently is telling me that there are people, and I'm Googling it and I find there are a lot more people who are not quite sure that that actually happened. I'm a real
Right.
sci-fi
The
nerd.
shadows are off, right? The shadows are off. They say that. Yeah.
And he's trying to convince me, which I'm a big sci-fi nerd, you know, that that did not happen. Okay, so let's first
That's so
two-part
funny.
question. So do you believe that we really landed on the moon?
So I gotta tell you, I am a bit of a conspiracy theorist myself.
Oh my God,
I don't know why,
you and Lior have got to
but
get.
like I gotta talk to him. Yeah, I don't know why, but like I really don't 100 believe anything
I
that I
love.
get from the media and that I have like really seen for myself. There's propaganda to talk to. There are cover-ups. There's a lot going on that they don't want us to know. So I don't know. They try to
Okay.
distract you with things when something else is going on. So I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes. You know,
Okay, I hear you.
I love that. I love that.
At
I
least
love that's one of your questions. That's awesome.
it is. I mean, and now you and Lior definitely have something to chat about, you know, and we get into
Oh yeah.
heated discussions in our Shabbos table over the moon in this family because
So funny.
he's the
That's so funny.
only one, and everyone else is like hardcore. So, um, and now the last thing, what is your favorite room in your house?
It depends when,
Okay.
because I'm a very early riser.
Okay.
So Shabbat morning, when I wake up and everyone's asleep and the house is really clean because it's Shabbat, you know, that's the only time that everything is finally once a week, everything is where it actually belongs.
Yep.
And I open up the tree seam and I open up the window and I have a cup of coffee and I sit on my couch and all of a sudden I love the living room. I mean, it's an open space. You look into the kitchen, you look into the yard, and I love that. But I would say just on that day, just on that time, because otherwise it's like, as I said, it's math books everywhere, and I'm always seeing the piles, and I'm always seeing the flaws, and move this stuff over. I can't stand it. But when it's clear and when everything is in its place, I would say the living room. Otherwise, bed. Just such a great feeling. Just at the end of the day to be like, all right, slip into bed, turn on the nightlight, maybe read something, maybe watch something, and that's always a very cozy feeling. What is your favorite room in your house? That's a good question.
I would say also my living room. I try very hard to keep it neat, and it's like my one like, don't put your stuff down, move it away, get it away. I'm like, it's just one it's just my shoe, it's just my phone.
Right.
And I'm like, I want one space that stays clean and fresh, and like, and the same thing, I love coming and sitting on my couch and looking out my window. And I know that feeling of coming down on Shabbos morning and just being like, or Lisa, it's been a
Uh,
pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for carving out this time.
Thank you.
I know you are super
Oh, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to just talk and have this. And I have to tell you, because I am someone who does her homework. When you told me about this today, I'm like, you know what? I should probably search for it on YouTube and just find out like how much time and am I on a video or not, or just to get like a 5-minute sense of what this is. And it's so good that I listened to 2 full episodes as I was cleaning my house. And it's so nice that you can either watch it or just listen in your ears. Yeah, I was really expecting to listen to 5 minutes max. And I'm like, wait. And it's so endearing and it's so engaging that I'm already friends with you, but I wanted to be friends with all of the people that you had on.
So nice.
And I think that's just the idea, that it's just chill and friendly and interesting and enriching, banter and conversation. And it's really, you're nailing it, because it hooked me in. So
Thank
congratulations.
You so much.
It's
That's exactly my hope and my dream, that you would like play it in the background. If you want to look at it, or just listen to it. And I feel that we know so many amazing people in our lives, and everyone has a fantastic story. And we all have such skills and talent and vitality that we bring to everything. And I just want everyone to meet everyone and share everyone's stories. And I personally just love connecting with my friends, because we see each other, at a Shabbos table quickly, or here, or a school meeting, or this, and we never really get the time to have a really in-depth conversation, because we're just so busy with our lives. So for me, it's like a kid in a candy store, enjoying my time just chatting with you. So this has just been fantastic for me to just chat with you. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And you are making us all happier, and you're making the world a healthier place, and you're going to make me healthier. So I'm going to keep you posted on it. Today, I'm starting my thing, and I'm going to check in with you in a month and see where I've gotten. And hopefully this will, I'll give updates on my Instagram, because Lisa's getting me on Instagram.
That's right. You put it on your stories.
Yeah. I will. I absolutely will.
Amazing.
Lisa,
thank you
you're
so
the best.
much.
It's amazing. Love you. Love your family. Love your kids. It's been amazing. And I can't wait to see you in real person again, and give you a hug again in real life.
I know. One day. And we'll be grateful for it.
Amen. Send regards to David and everyone. Tell them I said hi.
I will.
And the kids.
I will.
All righty. Have a good night. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
End it here. Okay, bye.